Dai. You doing? Are we gonna allow people to start talking now? Instead of them saying hi and stuff, like just talk. Can we do that in the Christmas period? Or we'll do it later.
Hello, Rumi. That was just for you. Merry Christmas, Rooms. How you doing?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, I
The
need to
Christmas
practice a bit.
spirit.
I need to practice a bit more. It's just that this thing is loud, man. You know, you can't, when you take it on holiday, you must find like a quiet place, you know?
You know, when you take it on holiday, play the gig. Just set up outside. Isn't it order to my musicians? That's how they started. Set up outside
There
and
we
go
go.
for it.
Some holiday money, you know? Then that'll be my lunch money,
Yeah. Then no, then there isn't. You don't need any permission and stuff like that.
you know?
Good.
Yeah. Did you find
So
Lulu was, eh?
no, Rulu hasn't
Ah,
responded. So we even tried to
done.
contact them. They haven't said, yeah.
Eh? Ask Toa there.
You can probably check. I wasn't looking for who Lulu was myself though.
Toa, is she there?
She's there.
Can you tell Dan who Lulu is?
She says she doesn't know. Is she supposed to know Lulu?
She says she doesn't know.
She says she doesn't know Lulu. She doesn't know who Lulu is. That's what she claims.
That she claims.
Yeah,
I
that's what she's
know.
claiming.
We must let her, you know, she must say what she needs to say.
So Amanda, if we just get into the conversation, so how has it been for you? Like if you just start thinking about kind of the last 30 weeks, what has it actually meant for you?
Yeah, man, I think it's been amazing. It's been amazing how a small idea, right, um, has made such a big impact, has had such a big reach. Yeah, it's really been, I think those are some more like of the standout things for me, right? And some of the things that you then see people responding on LinkedIn, you know, um, also how people are so willing to tell their stories, you know. I mean, we've had people who are entrepreneurs yesterday. We've got people who've been, you know, through the block who have done lots of things. And I guess it speaks to that concept of abundance, you know. Looking at things through the lens of abundance, that there is a lot of abundance out there. And you know, so those are some of the things that really stood out. There we go. Lulu is there, Dan.
Okay.
Tell Toa Lulu is there.
Okay.
There we go. We have Mishak as well. Hey Mishak, how you doing, my man?
Mr. says he's doing very well. He's
Fantastic,
doing well.
fantastic. Mishak is like a data science guy.
Oh, okay. So he appreciates the data.
Yeah, he's a guy who loves data. He plays with the
Good.
data.
Good.
Let's hear from Mishak.
Hey Mishak.
We're just starting right in it. Go for it. But does he want to say? Did he raise his hand? They shouldn't just be putting people on the spot. Oh, Lulu, are you gonna finally talk? Manda, why do I get the feeling you know Lulu?
I know that, you know. I'm following the Poppy Act. You must use information for the purposes it was given for.
Following the Poppy Act.
You know, you mustn't use information for other means.
Is it? Good. Should we get kind of into kind of the deck into kind of the webinar, and then we just take it from there, just have a conversation from there?
Let's do it.
Good. Admin, can you just start with the deck? Good. Okay. So I'm gonna go through the deck, and Manda, you can kind of just comment on whatever thing you stand out, and admin also you could actually comment. And if somebody who actually has also got something they want to comment on actually what the numbers are showing, they could actually just raise their hand and they'll actually be unmuted and they could actually talk. So yeah,
Great.
so Amanda, we've done 24 surveys. Obviously, some weeks when we kind of sort of didn't do them, or when the ladies did the Women's Month, it wasn't more surveys, it was more, they were doing more, what is it, weight clouds and stuff. So we didn't get to necessarily do 30 surveys. We had 1,128 registered people. We had 28 panelists come through. Participants in the surveys, the people actually participating in the survey out of the 1,128 is about 870 people. Average attendees per survey was like 46. I think that was probably every session. Average repeat attendees were like 23. So we already had like 23 people kind of sort of had come and really liked the webinar. So sorry?
Great.
Yeah, the Mishaks, the Rumbis, and everyone else who actually has come. So thank you very much for being the people at least who carry the webinar from going. We've had 33 people attend, mostly South African, from South Africa, sorry, but we've had 33 from 33 countries. And the average attendance has been 51 minutes. So those are the stats for the 30 sessions. I don't know if you have any comments, Manda, any views on that?
No, I think it's amazing, and I think before we had our participants on, we're just reflecting on what has been some of the standout moments. I think firstly, it's the simplicity of the idea that we had. You know, we didn't think really this was going to be you know, anything big. It was just starting somewhere, and really how people and you know, have responded. I see Dr. T is in the house. Hello, Dr. T, how are you doing?
Yeah, she's been one of our best good cheerleaders. Let me not say
No,
best,
she's
just
that
good.
one, a cheerleader in the front. She's got the biggest pom-poms, you know. So we really appreciate that support, but it's also from the generosity of people like Dr. Thokozile, our many guests who have come and shared their stories and who have spoken candidly, who have opened a side that is not known by many. I think that has been really appreciative. And I think the concept of just how abundant this has been, right? I mean, over 1,000 people, we've had 28 panelists. People have been contributing, trying to build and trying to give us feedback in terms of how we can improve this, how we can make this even a bit more impactful. So those are some of the things that really stand out for me, Dan.
Good. Actually, there's an error. It's not 28, it's 38, because I
So,
think the Women's Month had 3, 4
oh,
people.
yes,
So I've just been corrected. That's an error there. So we've had 38 panelists who've come and graced us on a Friday. So we thank that. We thank everyone who's actually come. We can go to the next page so that we can go start having conversations with people. So let's go through what kind of were the lessons. So Manda, these are the stats. So there's actually 29 stats. Obviously, Biotech being a technology company, data-driven, excited about data, so we always using. We have a full report. We don't know what to do with it yet. Around what has come out from the surveys from those 879 people. I did present it in the World Change Forum. I came up with some stuff which I thought no one had actually seen, and it was interesting because people got fascinated with the numbers, because the way we've done the surveys and the independence is actually so unique that people actually will get paid. But anyway, so when we did these surveys, we kind of had like 23 kind of outputs from the polls, but we got like kind of the top ones. So the ones in red are the ones which were like, we need to fix this. This is why we do the webinar. And then the green ones are the ones where we need to build on. So if anyone's got a comment, has got a insight around kind of what they get, raise your hand, will allow you to come, you can participate on it. So to just really just to emphasize, man, just go through it, the big ones. 75% of the people not pursuing their passion. They kind of want to pursue it, but there's a thing about fear. 70% of the people not being deliberate. 86%, this is the scary one, not using no sponsor, no mentor, no coach.
Wow.
They're just doing it by themselves, which is nothing wrong, like if you can make it work, right? But I think the webinar kind of just really talks to it. 73% people procrastinate.
Yeah.
40% are stagnant. 60% don't take their creativity at work. So when you just think about kind of the ones which stood out, man, I don't know if you've got any comments before we go to the green ones. To me, there's actually a lot of things there's a lot of topics we need to bring to the webinar, which kind of addresses a lot of kind of the things we've actually seen to try to get them to an 85% in the green.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me the standard one done is probably the sponsorship one. Certainly one of the things that has been the theme of us getting to where we have been with this webinar is not because we're superstars, right? It's about how we have worked with other people who have rallied around this vision, who have rallied around supporting and enabling us to be able to get where we are. I mean, people like Toa, who, I mean, even today she's in the back, she's ensuring that all the tech is okay. You know, she's driving the slides for us. That is something that enables this show to go. We have had the likes of Mandisa, who has week in, week out created some of the most beautiful posters that I think that, you know, you could pay good money for, right? And she's doing that for free. And I think that it's really that abundance of you know, the ability to multiply by using and working with people. And certainly I think that as we you know, approach this career space, you know, it cannot be a journey that you take by yourself. It's a lot easier when you take with others and ask others to help you as well.
Good. Okay, so the ones which at least came out positive, which people are doing very great, which is good to see. People have got the conscious and incompetent, so that's a great start. Meaning people are aware that there are things they need to grow in. In fact, 91% of the people were kind of aware of their competencies. 86 are driving their career, 86% are driving their careers through values, so they use their value system to kind of drive their careers. Positive or negative, I think it doesn't really matter, but at least you have some base which you're actually using. 80% use reading and courses for development, very effective. Obviously, if you can apply them, that really is pretty good. 74% is the one I used in the World Change Forum. I said, people believe they have the solutions for their companies, even during the time of COVID. So the question is, what are leaders doing to leverage this, what is it, potential, this abundance people have, this belief people have, because the whole thing of innovative and creativity in the time of change has been left to a bunch of few people sitting in one room being all creative, and that. Okay, what else we will say? One thing this webinar has really taught me is that I must be deliberate in driving my career. Yes, Lulu, we do agree to that. Okay, so if you can go to the next page, to us what we just go through the deck quickly, the 4 pages. Okay, so then the last page, Manda, what we did is that, remember we always get the insights. I would develop some insights from each panelist. So what we did is that we put all those reports in a word cloud. And these are the things which came out. Obviously, there's some stuff which could be kind of sort of gibberish there, but there's some stuff which really stood out, which you could really see really comes out. I mean, things like about you need to be people driven, you need to save. If you're kind of sort of driving your career and you're not there to save, probably not gonna be very effective. Things around your purpose, things around getting your help, you need to help people to help you. So talks to about the sponsorship. And these are things the panelists were bringing out, right? You need to invest in your skills, your talent, network comes out. When I was looking, the only one which came out, funny enough, around leveraging platforms was actually LinkedIn. So there's also the idea that the speakers talked about LinkedIn. What we did is that we came and said, we're gonna use the words which came out at least from 5. So this is the minimum of 5 panelists. So if it's really small, it means at least 5 panelists talk to, and obviously if it's big, the couple of panelists who brought it up. So
Okay.
there's a lot of things which stand out. I don't know what stood out for you, Manda, on this insights we got from panelists.
I think it's how there were various ways of articulating concepts, right? I mean, I just remember the concept around purpose. We had some very interesting definitions from Dr. Andrew Johnson. You know, we've had very interesting perspectives from Dr. Rose, Dr. T. Hey, it's the doctors.
You see, you're scaring everyone from coming to participate.
You
Just
know,
say Rose
you know.
and Johnson. Because now we're running out of what is this panelists because they're like, I don't have a PhD. We're like, who told you it's a PhD? It's like, I see you guys.
You know, and Johnson Makubu as well, right? So I think that it was just how there were various perspectives of seeing things, and I guess the encouragement there is, don't be scared about getting things perfectly right, that there's only one way to do something, you know, and find a perspective that you understand that allows you to then drive the next action, right? To take the next best action. That really was one of the things maybe that stood out for me as well, looking at this word cloud.
I think just to add on to that, to me, probably 2 more things which stood out. The thing about working hard came out very strongly. I think one thing which maybe there's 2, 3 things which the word cloud didn't show, and maybe it's because of the way we were writing the insights. None of the panelists who came, Manda, had a straight line career trajectory. None. We didn't have anyone who came
Wow.
and followed what we perceive or what the universities or what HR puts in place as a career path for people in the field. We didn't have anyone who came. It could have just been a coincidence. We should have probably gone and looked for experts, and specifically they would have probably told us how they've gone through the ranks. But just as a coincidence, no one actually did a linear, career progression.
That's amazing,
Or at
man.
least pivot. Sorry?
That's amazing, really.
Yeah, and this doesn't really show it, but it really came out strongly. I think the other thing which came out strongly for me, which this part didn't really show, is people were talking about being curious about your environment internally, which is kind of that self-awareness. I know there's the self, I think it comes out there, and personal things. And then also just being curious about your environment to actually explore. I think it didn't really come out strongly, but I know that when we are having the conversations, those are one of the things which really stood out from what people are actually talking about. To say, one of the things which actually drove my career, if it wasn't purpose driven, it was my hunger to just know, to learn, to see, to be exposed, and that was really, really good when it came to the the webinar. I think the last thing the word cloud doesn't show from what our panelists came about is the support network which helps you. I know it talks about network. I think there's like 2, 3 times I saw network coming up, but probably the role, the people closest to you, your family, your cheerleaders, your champions in your career help you overcome that fear. Specifically when it comes to the fear, this what probably didn't really come out strongly around. If you have a strong base and you've got a strong network of people interested in in your pivots, it makes it easy for you to actually pivot upward.
Great, great. Do we have any more data to look at before
No, I think
we?
these are the only pages, right? We simplified it to 3, 4 pages. I'm not sure if any of the people who are kind of the panel or sorry, or the attendees want to comment. Is there anything which stood out? And it could be a general comment. So I don't know if we should actually just go to the open and just leave it open to hear any testimony. Or we could also talk, Manda, maybe before we open it to our testimonies, we would get of SMSs and messages of people just after the webinar, what the webinar actually meant to people.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, certainly. I think, Dan, maybe to tell our audience a story that when we started this, we said that look, we don't really want to get to a point where we think we are perfect and take a lot of time. Let us start, we'll iterate, and let us be agile, right? Into today's buzzword. And one of the things that really started coming out was for us to drop any expectations of how a session must go, right? That was really, I think, for me, an eye opener that some days we might have thought the session did not go as well as we had planned, but man, the impact and the feedback that we're getting from people who attended, who believe that whoever came on was the best guest, that has come on, was really amazing. And which is why we then started being a lot more relaxed and deciding that our role in this is to facilitate the story as best as we can, because everyone's story is relevant, and as long as it can touch someone out there, we have made the difference that we seek to make.
Mm. I think just to add onto that, Manda, right? I remember when we had Leah. Leah is the panelist who came to talk about how she left corporate and said pursuing an acting career. It was very interesting because after that call, one of the people who used to be one of my leaders in my previous roles kind of called me and said, "Hey, man, I needed to listen to this story because I want to go into acting." I was like, "Whoa, wow, that's really interesting." She's like, "I want to do it now. There's no reason to wait." I was like, "Wow, I think you need to wait and be cool, and you need to plan it out and just think about it." But that, to me, I think gave us the energy to keep going, the excitement around people actually getting to to understand that they could act on their pivots, on their goals, to me meant we achieved success. That inspiration really kicked in, as opposed to just people just felt good and the conversation was very good,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
flowing.
Mm-hmm.
But that idea that, look, actually, I want to act now, as much as it was scary at the time because this person had a lot of responsibility in their current role and they wanted to just quit it because they always thought they were a good actress and stuff when they were young. It was very inspiring, and that just carried the momentum for me going forward around this is making a difference in people's lives.
No, man, fantastic. And I see already Portia has given us a nice summary. Can Portia, you wanna come out and maybe share some thoughts with us?
Are they allowed to unmute themselves?
I think
Donaldin,
we
have we made
we
it possible for them to unmute so that people can actually talk and contribute?
I think the governor has to unmute them. And
Yeah,
I see
Portia.
Tapelo Teledi has joined as well. Hey Tapelo, how you doing, man?
Portia can talk. You are allowed to unmute. In fact, anyone actually can raise their hand or just talk to kind of what stands out for them when it comes to the webinar. We know that this is kind of a reflection one, so we don't have the funky, exciting panelists, but we felt that we've made some good stride and traction looking at where we started and where we thought we would actually go with this idea. We should actually just end up with a conversation around what did it really mean for us and what did it actually mean for whoever felt that this thing actually made an impact in their lives. We noticed that the reminder didn't go through. So somehow the setting is probably our fault. From an administration perspective, we didn't get the reminder. But I mean, people have still come. So we're excited about it. And thanks very much for actually coming. So if you want to say something, hey man, raise your hand and let's hear your story. Is Portia saying something? Oh,
Yes,
maybe
I'm
people are
here.
scared to say, yo, Portia, talk to us. Feels like I'm on radio now.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Evening,
I didn't
Portia.
expect to be put on a spot like this, but I've
It's
already put
open
my
mic,
comment. Sorry.
open mic. So
Uh,
talk.
yes, I did put my comments on the chat box, but nevertheless, for me, what this sessions has done for me was to basically put a structure into my life, put some order, especially during this COVID. I always had something to basically look forward to at 6 o'clock. It's very easy to just get derailed and not have a structure in your career. And I've also made reference to say that, like, after 16 years of being in a career, it's so easy to get stuck, stagnant, or depleted, and just just tired. And so I needed to listen to people who are driven, people who are younger, some are older, but um, I could relate to and enjoyed very refreshing topics of people who love themselves, who like they reminded me of me long ago. So I also
Mm.
understood my journey, or my season. It's not an exciting season, so I'm not blaming myself to be in a career boring state. So I think it it will turn out differently, because you can't always be on the rise. So yeah, I think, but I enjoyed them. It gave me a structure. In short, it
Well,
gave me.
Portia, now I'm gonna put you on the spot. I've got two questions for you. The first one was, who was your favorite panelist? And then second, obviously I'm being controversial, so it's up to you. But we always have favorites, even with kids, there's favorites. So let's not even pretend. What would you say we should do best, or we should change or improve on, or include for next year when we actually start the series again?
Um, I was not sure of the timing, but I realized that it's better, because if you do it too late, people are already in the Friday mood. They will not log on at 7. So
Mhm.
um, I think maybe you can include some few in between very ordinary people, because the people who come here, I think that they're high profilers. So they're not okay, they're extraordinary as the name suggests, but we could bring the in between ones who are also not doing so well. Yeah.
Okay, I like that concept. Well, so what you are saying is that if that, we shouldn't necessarily bring somebody who's going to talk about a successful pivot, but just talk about bring somebody who can come and just tell their story, even in kind of there are challenges in it, maybe because it's something you can learn. Is this what you're actually trying to say?
Yes, because not everyone is in a happy mode, like Christmas happy mode. A lot of people, we can learn from them, although they're not this. It's not, there isn't much exciting at this point in time. So I think they can also say one or two things that people can relate to, because also some people get depressed from listening to too much of happy stories. They also want to relate to the ground somehow. Yeah.
Good. This
Done.
week, funny
Actually,
enough, you said this. Let me just last comment on
yeah,
that. So this
go
week,
for
funny
it.
enough, in my coaching group, I shared an article, well, kind of a quote in the group. I said one of the things we can use with our during this time of COVID is really encourage our coaches to go through the pain they are going through, because a lot of people going through a lot of challenges, because their story is gonna be a blueprint for somebody's life, career, growth next time, because they've gone through it and they've overcome it. That is going to be a blueprint for somebody to actually use to come and say, somebody's done it, this is what they did. It was a very painful exercise, but I can actually copy it. Manda?
Actually, done. I mean, Portia, I'm gonna put Portia on the spot here. So Portia A, but you don't have to respond to this one. Actually, I met Portia when I joined ESCOM. I remember this was 2008, 2009, and I think Portia was we were at one of these power stations and we just started on a project. The one thing that stood about Portia was always hustling, right? Things had to be done in a certain way. She was very assertive. And funny enough, fast forward, Portia is one of the people who have grown the most in the people that I've known in my time at ESCOM. I mean, Portia is one of those people who are not afraid to not go for a job because she's not very clear about the job spec. And this is something that research has shown that men actually go for jobs where they don't fit the entire spec, right? Whereas women hold back. And I think that Portia was quite exemplary that, she felt that, look, nothing was too hard for her. She's always going to leverage on experience and do the best that she can. And of course, she's been given even more responsibility. As you can see, she says, "Hey, man, the workload is quite high." I'm sure they saw the broad shoulders that couldn't take it.
Thank you, Manda, for that. I think I'm off the spotlights now.
Thank you, Portia, for participating.
Indeed,
Good.
Thanks, Portia.
Anyone else with a comment or would want to actually add and just talk about kind of what the webinar has actually meant for them? It would be pretty good. Rurani made a comment. I don't know if Rurani would actually want to come and talk and share their insights around the webinar itself.
Yeah, while we wait for Rulani to be given the go ahead through admin, I think, Dan, one of the things maybe I would like to ask you is particularly now that you've transitioned to this coaching role, right? What are some of the things that people can start looking at, particularly coming to this time of the year, right? We've had quite a tough year, hit everybody by surprise. And some people are really a bit afraid about what to expect next year. I've seen one meme which says, "This year I'm not buying a planner for 2021 until I see the trailer."
Oh, I saw that.
How can people approach this time, right? And not only use the holiday time to de-stress, but also to start thinking how they can, be different in 2021.
Manda, it's like you've been in my conversation with my coaches. I see none of them have actually attended. Promised me they were going to attend. I was actually going to say, can you actually have the conversation which way? If one of them comes, I'm actually going to reiterate. But to me, if I come and say, look, what are the things you should probably be thinking or looking at doing, right? Probably two things stand out to me. I think the first one is the self-reflection. And the self-reflection is centered around what does it actually mean for you to have gone through this year? What have you worked on? What have you not done? What have you done? And maybe get to a stage where you just talk about the resilience, right? How resilient were you? What are the things which actually affected you in a way that you felt a bit hopeless or you felt a bit strong? So I think the first starting point to me is this. You really, really need to reflect on yourself, kind of just thinking about you've survived, you've made it. This year has been chaotic. There's been a lot of uncertainty and stuff like that. And people have overcome that. So to me, I think the first thing is just really just looking at that and seeing what does it really mean to you and what can you really learn? What has been the biggest learning for this year, which you can come and say, if next year is even easier than this year, which goes back to my second point around looking about next year, understanding what I learned on this year, I will really be able to kick it out of the park. There's always things we have to learn. People always talk about the crisis. He's got the crisis, the Chinese sign of a crisis. The other, what is it? what the meaning is actually opportunity. I've been teaching people to say, actually, the crisis has got three things. There's got three O's in it. There's opportunity, right? So this is what everyone talks about. There's the obstacles. So what are the obstacles during this time? One of the reasons that because due to an obstacle, we have this webinar. We felt that there was need, and maybe we could even give a context. I don't know if we've gone to the detail of how the webinar came about. It was an obstacle around reaching out to people and helping them during this time, because people were actually doing a lot of sitting at home and actually reflecting on their careers. And we got a lot of interest around people coming to say, oh, what is it I can do during this time, and how can I actually leverage my opportunity? So we always just look at the opportunity. So the obstacles. And the third O around a crisis to me is options. The crisis always brings options. The reason I'm doing coaching is because it became an option instead of me just sitting. I was so
Yeah.
consumed in kind of what I was doing, being an entrepreneur. And that thing was, the handbrake was put on that when we went into lockdown. And the question became, what were my options? Instead of just focusing on the obstacles, to say, we're on lockdown, there's nothing we can do, it's so depressing and stuff like that. I look at what's my options. And funny enough, I think in my executive career, Amanda, in the last 6 years of my executive career, I don't remember doing a formal course at all. I was on 110%
Wow.
deliverable focused. During the lockdown, I've gotten my coaching certification, I've gotten my change certification, and I'm also doing my certification around energy management. And these are things which were so easy to actually do even when I was in corporate, but I always give myself an excuse. So the question is, what were the obstacles? And I think to me, that's what the reflection is supposed to do. Then the last bit is, then what does it mean next year? What are the 2, 3 things? Don't make 10 things. It's pointless to come up with 10 objectives. What are the 3 things which you would do from the learning? And in that, there are 2 questions I want you to ask. What is that self-talk which is stopping you from doing it? So what will prevent you from doing it? And if you go ahead and actually do it, what's the feeling you get? And can you duplicate that feeling in what you actually do based on kind of what you've had this year? Those to me will be the standout thing, Manda. Now I'm really going into the
Wow.
coaching thing. Maybe we should, this was about my open mic to people and stuff
I
like that,
know,
to let
right?
them talk.
All right.
But,
I know, right? Maybe
but I think
just to
it's a very good question
summarize:
to actually share. Good.
obstacles, opportunities, and
And
options,
options.
right?
The 3 O's. When there's
The
so
3
I've
O's.
that's my own, by the way. You're not gonna Google that, and it's just something I've come up as a
No,
coach
indeed,
when I'm dealing with people.
indeed. Let's have it from Rulani. Hi, Rulani. How you doing, man?
Thank you very much, Manda. Thanks,
Ah,
Dan.
you see, you know this unisex names. You know my bias. Oh
Exactly,
gosh, you know
exactly.
that was a good example of unconscious bias.
Yeah, it is. This is Rulani, a female, not a male.
Oh yes, Rulani from Eskom, ne?
No. It's actually Rulani from somewhere else, not Excom.
Ah, okay.
Sorry.
I was
Yeah.
just making sure.
Talk to us, Fanny.
Thank you very much. I think one of my biggest learning, as I indicated in the chat box there, is that one should not be held back by fear. When I listened to most of the panelists, most of them took the bold step in order to be able to achieve what they wanted to do. I think in my case, in most cases, I am quite fearful, and I look at what if I fail? What if I fail? Most of the time I ask myself, if I do this step, take this step, what if I fail? And that in itself prevents me from, exploring opportunities, as Manda has actually indicated about the other O. So that in itself, it hinders my progress, or taking an opportunity to leap out there and do something different. So I think that was my biggest learning, that I shouldn't be held back, because if I look at the opportunities, it should empower me to take that leap and say, and do something different that would be more exciting, possibly, or it could actually open more doors for me. Yeah, that's about what I learned most.
And Rulani, who was your favorite panelist? Who was your favorite guest?
Osha
Definitely.
got away with that question, didn't she?
She almost got
You know-
away, right?
You know,
Osha did. She needs to paste it.
I I did attend, and I when I joined, I think the very first one that I listened to it was Andrew Johnson.
Okay.
That was my favorite as well. And unfortunately, I skipped quite a bit, but I attended, I think, about 5 or 6. But I enjoyed most of them. But I say I enjoyed all of them, but the most interesting one for me was Dr. Andrew Johnson.
No, indeed.
Thank you.
And by the way, all of the webinar sessions are on the YouTube channel. I'm actually done. I'm actually planning to sort of go back and watch some of, my favorites and see how I can use that content, to reflect, for the end of the year. But Rulani, we're not going to
Who
ask
are those,
you.
Manda?
We're not going to ask
You
you.
mentioned it yourself. Who are those? Let's see how biased you are.
All the ones who are here are my favorites. Dr. T, Teboho, those actually are my favorites because they made it today.
Okay, so Manda, we have Bamwabi. He's one of the people who kind of supported us in the background. We thought that actually everyone who kind of participated, including Bytech admin, should just talk about what the webinar actually means to them while everyone is actually contributing. Bamwabi, do you want to say something?
Yeah.
Good.
I think I'll turn on my video as well. Go, hi, Amanda.
Hey.
Done. How are you guys doing?
Hey, great,
And
man.
yourself?
Good, thanks. Yeah, it's been, how many episodes? 30?
30. This is
30.
going number 30. Yeah.
30 sessions, yeah. Yeah, it was when you guys first spoke to me about it, I was very interested in the idea of getting ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Usually when you get invited to a webinar or an online session, especially during lockdown, we more or less saw the same people. Not that the same people had nothing else to say, but it was just nice to get a fresh.
But probably did.
Not gonna say much. But it was refreshing to get different real life opinions or experiences. And it was interesting to see people who started off in one way and ended up another. We've heard of so many different instances where you'll find a chemical engineer becomes the CEO of a bank. How did that transition happen? And nobody was really, you couldn't really get that answer out of it. So for me,
Do you
it was
think
very
probably the conspiracy, Bamwabi, do you think the conspiracy is probably they had a snake?
That's a whole nother story, but no, they didn't have any snakes. There were no snakes. There were no snakes involved, I think, yeah. So speaking about maybe how I got involved with my colleague who unfortunately couldn't make it due to other commitments. I've got a bit of an advertising background, and we wanted to contribute by helping with, the look and feel of the artwork that was going out, talking about this initiative. And we wanted to create a sort of a brand guideline, and something just to make it, I wouldn't say standardize things, but just to make it have a little bit more of an edge. Because when you would like to talk about yourself on the digital space, the way you present yourself is pretty important. And we did have a thought to say that, this is something that will take off and, will reach so many different people and so many people would take away from it. So we wanted to help by, helping by creating a uniform look, a slightly more professional look. Not that it wasn't professional before, but we wanted to just add a little bit of flair and and we worked together. We got feedback from you, Manda. You were always very encouraging, but we did get the right direction, and it was a very interesting process. Yeah.
Mbawambi, let me tell you, they were not professional. Those were done by me with some free app, from the Apple Store. So those are not professional at all,
Yeah. But personally, I took away a lot from these sessions. There were some that I had noted down. So I kind of just used to make notes during the sessions, and one thing I actually forgot to do was write down who said what.
I can tell you, Amanda, one of his favorite was Betha because he told me several times. I was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, Betha was a huge eye opener. My brain was exploded. It expanded. Yeah. But
Wow.
there was one thing about leadership is first lead yourself before you can be trusted to lead other people. And I've worked under quite a number of remarkable people, and that's one thing that I would say stands out. Somebody who can lead themselves or can direct themselves in a particular direction deliberately can actually easily direct other people within a particular direction. And it also gives you it gives you a little bit of empathy when you're dealing with other people as well. And I think an empathetic leader is one that connects more with the people they're leading, because it's not a one-way street of communication. It's a two-way street of communication, So for me, that was one of my takeaways. Yeah.
By the way, the science of that, what you've just said, is called servant leadership. There's a lot of articles. I know a lot of MBAs are doing that because I've participated in 2 or 3 of them around the servant leadership. It's a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
Indeed.
Any other person? Are you done? The comments?
Yeah, I'm done.
Good.
I
So
see. And
just to note, Pamwabi's favorite, Betha, we know that. So you can go and give her the feedback, man, that he liked the idea of somebody with a non-engineering background really pivoting and really, I mean, if you look at the work she's doing now, we host webinars. We were hosting one for her today. They are brilliant around women in energy and stuff like that. She's really taken that area by storm and grabbed it by the horn and ran with it. Fantastic.
And I think, Dan, it would be a good time to actually reiterate to say, look, we are actually not looking for superstars. We are not looking for only people who are professionals. And I think that the beauty about pivots is to give people ideas who are vast, right? And I'm hoping that in the new year, we'll be finding a lot more people who are not even, university graduates, because I think those people actually have distilled, how things work, and sometimes, simplify things. And I remember, Dan, there was a time I remember you were about to buy a car, and you say that every time you thought about buying this car, you do spreadsheets, which always told you why it was a bad idea. Right? and sometimes, good or bad, sometimes, this structured way of approaching things sometimes, can hold us back, sometimes to our own help, but also sometimes it can be to our own detriment as well. And I see there is Mpe Punengobera. This one, Dan, he's from the village there, he says that Xolisa Vuza had the most impact. So, Mr. Nengobela, if you can come onto the mic and tell us about your experience about Xolisa and what you really took out from him would be great. Dan, while we wait for people to come on, one of the things I would like to maybe speak about is I remember when we started being crazy, right? Before, when we're just engineers, we started being crazy and trying to dabble with all these different things. There's a gentleman called Lou Tice, L-O.
Louis Tice, yeah.
Louis, yes. L-O-U T-I-C-E, right? And there was something, because when you're talking about this self-reflection and self-talk, there was something that you used to talk about called the scotoma, you know, which I really found it to be a very, very interesting concept. Now, in the context of career pivots, how can our participants apply that principle in their environments?
Okay, Manda, it's like you're getting me into going to coaching. So I'll bring the science of it, but I'll try to do it in a minute because I want to hear other people.
Fantastic.
So the way the brain works, the brain works in 3 ways. So it gets information, right? It distorts the information, it deletes what it doesn't want, and then it packages to create an understanding because you get too much information. Otherwise, you'd go mad. That's why if I asked everyone who's attending the webinar to say how many safety signs, road signs did you pass to get where you are, they won't even remember. But those signs are actually meant to save your life. But if you spend all the time analyzing all the risks for each sign, and by the way, if you're in South Africa, there are road signs every 300 meters. So just know that there's a sign telling you how to save your life every 300 meters. So the something called the scotoma kind of filters that. It filters the things and it only shows you the things you want to see to validate your reality. So from a career perspective, if you really want to not have, because what it happens is it blinds you or it creates a barrier to move in certain pivots, either upwards or sideways, because there are these beliefs we hold on to. Dr. Johnson put it very nicely. Those beliefs, you need to unlearn them so that you're not defined by them and relearn the beliefs which actually help you pivot. So
Dr. T talked about the dogmas as well, right? Dr. T talked about the dogmas, right?
So you come and say, you know, I'm an accountant, I only learn from accountants. That could be a dogma. That tells you the dogma, because accountants generally make the best CEs. So you've come up, and usually those beliefs come from experience or what you've seen, or getting the information from somebody you hold in high regard. So now we're just going to kind of what defines what is it beliefs. So if you get to that, when you come to your career, the best way of doing that is to partner with somebody who can help you open up the opportunities. Get a coach, get a mentor, get somebody who sees a different perspective, and it's for you to open up to new ideas. That's how you would squash the scotoma, which prevents you from seeing the things you're supposed to see to generate your new reality. So you create a new reality. That's a quicker version of trying to put all that quickly.
No, fantastic. So Mpepo is ready. Hey, Mpepo, how are you doing? Mpepo, you're on mute. You know, I feel like we're running a radio show, Dan.
That's what it feels like when you're actually letting people, and it feels like a radio show.
No, we can hear you now, Mpepo. How are you doing?
No, I'm okay. How are you guys?
No, man, we are
good,
fantastic. We are fantastic. How have you found the webinar so far?
I think I joined, 20 minutes ago. I completely forgot today. For me.
Sorry about that. Our reminder didn't go through, so a lot of people didn't join.
Yeah.
So we lost a lot of people.
Apologies for that.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think the how I learn about this it's through Mwekezi. I think Mwekezi is a friend of mine. He shared the link, and that's how I came to watch your shows. So I think I watched 3. The Luvuyo one, Mwekezi's one, and what's his name? The Vusa
Oliver.
guy.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oliver.
yes. And I think all three that I watched, all the three guys had unique. I think their careers, especially there's something there. There's something there. Yeah.
And you said that in the
Manda, looks like Manda is frozen. Mpepu, are you there?
No, I'm here. I see.
Okay, so I
decided
see
to
Manda is frozen. If maybe you just to end your comment is, what would you like to see next year? What would you advise us to change, or adjust or keep doing for next year?
I think the Friday night thing, it's really difficult. I don't know
Okay.
which day or which day of the week would be more suitable, but yeah, it's quite difficult.
We did a poll twice to
Yeah.
ask, just in the middle of the lockdown and kind of when they went to level 2 or 3, and everyone came back with just keep it on Friday because we said different times. So we're not really sure what would work. So we can't even validate, because all what happened is that the people who answered the poll and did not come and give an alternative. So it made it very difficult. That's why we just kept it going. But maybe we will consider a different timeline for next year. I don't know what times we're going to apply. The only reason why we did Friday was we started this show in the middle of the lockdown. We knew people were actually sitting at home and they would actually be able to have the time to participate in the webinar. So we need to probably reflect and look on that.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, I mean, another thing that we decided to do, right, was often people have plans on a Friday night, you know, they either go for drinks, they either go for movies. And, you know, since the family meeting had banned certain activities, we thought that, look, that might have been an obstacle in certain instances. But back to Dan's point, is we saw that as an opportunity and an option that we could take. And it's really amazing. But certainly, in the new year, maybe let us look at how do we allow those who want to go out there and have fun, but also attend the webinar as well. But I guess, look, at the same time, it won't suit everybody. But if you missed a session, you know, you can always access it on the YouTube channel as well. These are recorded. As we wrap up, right, Dan, I see Mishak has made a comment there.
We've had him here. Is he gonna talk? Should we give you a chance, Mishak, to say some comments? You've also attended quite a number of shows, webinars.
Yeah, his talking is permitted, and we are also waiting for Dr. T to also and Teboho to also make some comments as well.
Yeah, maybe I think as panelists, it would be nice to hear what their views are if they want to just talk about what the webinar has meant. I know they have attended a couple of them, so it would be good before we close to just hear their views on that.
Definitely. Mishak, the floor is yours, my brother.
Yes, you can hear me.
Dr. T says stop picking on him. Picking on her. Good, Mishak, go for it.
Go for it.
Oh,
Mishak.
evening, everyone. For me, you know, the topic about politics really stood out for me because as a engineer, you kind of have the view that, I don't know if it's all engineers or just me, that, you know, you're just gonna get to work, do your work, and that's what's gonna matter. And it was eye-opening to realize that an organization is much broader than just the technical work that you do. Being able to communicate and sell yourself and navigate the politics and knowing what kind of politics are in play is quite crucial. And knowing in which direction to lean in kind of helps your career progression. Because at the end of the day, yes, you want to be promoted, you want to grow, and you start realizing, especially where I'm at, start realizing that, you know, the technical work that you do is important, but that's not the only thing that makes you grow. So yeah, that was what stood out for me.
I've got a comment and a question. The question is this. So has any of the things, so I know you've come quite a number of them. Has any of this information, have you started using any of it? Has it been helpful?
It's been helpful. For me, my challenge has been, it's been quite difficult to overcome the fear, but being aware of it and being understanding as to why do I have that fear has been really enlightening. In actually, my wife has used this more than me because
Fantastic.
she's actually now embarking on
It's 7 o'clock.
embarking on taking even a temporary position, which is risky and that, but this has helped her to actually make that jump, and it also has helped me in supporting her to make that jump. For me, there's still a lot that I still have to work on to make the jump, because it's not I don't have a clear crystal view of what jump do I want to make exactly. I feel like I want to make a jump, but I still haven't gotten to a point where it's crystal clear, and that's the area that I need to work on. Yeah, but it has helped a lot in terms of my wife's side. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. Any recommendation of what we should do next year?
Okay, the time thing has already been covered, but there's YouTube for that. I think I don't know if there's a way of participating on the YouTube side, because I don't know if the other thing is that there were also maybe some questions that were not answered, and I don't know if that information ever came, or rather answers to those questions, the answers ever came out. So that's something that's the area that I would say we should improve on. Other than that, the time, as I said, you can also watch on YouTube, because I've missed some and went on YouTube and watched those. I don't know if you guys have comments on YouTube. I forgot, but yeah.
Indeed. Dr. T's hand is up, Dan. Ha. Her hand is up. She's ready.
Can we enable her? By the way, Misheki, you're not by yourself. The engineer of the nation put some numbers at the Zondo Commission yesterday. He was far in figures and numbers there. So you're not the only one who thinks numbers will get you where you should be. Even the engineer of the nation did that. And he was running one of the biggest utility in the world. Dr. T.
Hi.
How's it?
How are
I'm
you?
good. I'm good, thank you.
Guys,
Since you've been picking on me.
Before you go on, guys, you need to follow Dr. T. You must see her inspirational messages, and she's like proper pro-African. She's got like probably the most amazing business wear using African print. Dr. T, sorry, I had to.
Thank you, Manda. Am I on video? I can't even see.
No, you're not on video.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
I'm not exactly camera ready, but I made sure I put on a wig just in case, like any other proper Black woman. I guess I just had two things I wanted to say. The first thing I wanted to say was really well done, guys. I think there's a lot of us who think about doing what you've done. Yeah, I think all of us who are privileged to be employed or to be running businesses never forget that there's a lot of people across the continent that don't share our privilege. And we all want to be part of, helping pull other people up and just contributing to inspiring other people, empowering them. And I really love that you went beyond the talk, because a lot of good ideas die, at the dinner table or on WhatsApp chats. And I love the fact that you actually, you started it and you did it, and it's been wonderful. So I just wanted to thank you and to honor you, for your leadership. I always say, leadership is doing something rather than talking about it. So I just want to take the opportunity to really celebrate your leadership. In terms of, for me, it's been a great Friday evening stint. You know, I loved participating. It was very enriching. It's always funny to hear your story because you know your story, but when you say it aloud, sometimes it sounds more impressive than you realize. That's how I felt. You know, I felt like, oh, this life sounds, you know, when you're telling it as a story, it sounds very exciting, you know, and impressive.
Yeah.
But when you're busy living your life, you know, it doesn't, I don't feel very impressed by my own life. You know, I feel very blessed. But I think after sharing that story and the impact it had on other people, one does get a lot of gratitude, yeah? And really, really being thankful for the privilege. And I really thank you for creating that moment for me. I've actually started relationships with other people who've been on, who I reached out to, so that's been awesome. And of course, the eternal wisdom that came from the other participants, I think that was really great. So I personally have also taken a lot away. And yeah, I remember after that session is when I even became a little bit more aggressive about putting my, you know, my little quotes out there into the world as I wade through trying to finish a book, you know, so yeah. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Just those two things, you know. Thank you for the inspiration and the platform
Yeah.
and the leadership.
Before you go, last question to you: who was your favorite? And you can choose yourself.
Sorry?
You know,
Who was your favorite? And you can choose yourself.
you know,
Ooh,
Dan, I might even say to her, who was your favorite host? You know.
Oh, okay. I see.
So
I'm
of course,
saying this. I
Manda was
see.
my favorite host. What are you talking about? Right? But in terms
I think
of
just to add on your comment, Doctor, which we didn't say, for all those who actually have come to a webinar, the biggest impact, at least personally, we felt, has been on the panelists coming to tell their story. People don't know that self-reflection of actually putting the story together and actually just looking at kind of the blessings or the challenges we've actually overcome has been the biggest. Almost ever, I actually can't remember one who didn't come and say, you know what, guys, telling this story has actually just made a difference. Put a pause on, I've pressed a pause, but just think about, okay, there's some things I need to really change or grow, or I need to keep doing going forward to actually make a difference. So that's, I think, one of the things which has happened in the background, which people might not know. And the survey doesn't show that people felt their own story inspired themselves to actually do better and grow.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think one doesn't keep track of one's resilience in particular, because I remember some of the follow-ups, people are like, oh, it sounded so easy. And I was like, oh no. And in the follow-up, some people got the full download, you know, of those pivots. There was lots of sweat and tears and creativity, etc. It wasn't easy, but I think when you're living it, and I've had quite a few of those, you kind of get used to that cycle and you forget to celebrate your growth in resilience, etc. If I had to pick a favorite, and yeah, you're gonna laugh at me, I would have to say Rose. Because
Yes.
yeah, because it was just a different side of
excluding you
her.
and Rose.
Yes, I know it's my ex-boss, but it was so inspiring to imagine her in that room, in that house with her family. You know, I've obviously met her at the height of her success, right? And that really gave me an idea to where she started, which makes her even more remarkable in my eyes, because her humility, you know, and her accessibility is incredible. You know, but now I understand it because I know where she came from, and she's clearly remained very rooted in her values and in her history, despite her successes. But yeah, that would be me.
Good. Thank you very much, Dr. T.
Thank
Pleasure.
you very much, Dr. T. All right, Dan. It's 7:08. I think maybe I would like to hear what your own reflection has been in 1 minute of the webinar. And you know, while Dan is giving us that in the chats, please give us an indication when we come back. Around when do you think would be a good time to come back? You know, we don't want to be talking about career pivots and you are not in PE, but somewhere else in the country, you know, still enjoying your holiday.
Okay, I don't know why, Manda, you'd ask me to do 1 minute, because you know I like talking. Instead of saying let's do the next 1 hour. My biggest reflection for career pivot is that for me is that it gave me that option when there was obstacles to save. This is my way of saving, and it gives me joy I can't explain when it comes to helping people. I'm an engineer by training who thought numbers and machines make sense and they don't disappoint. But right now, I'm a person who will come and say those things are immaterial if the human ability and what is it, abundance is not tapped into. And that fascinates me. So the reflection to me has been, I'm going out there and I'm doing my 67 minutes for 30 sessions of Nelson Mandela's savings. That's my saving. That's my talent. That's my passion. That's my excitement. That's my reflection.
No, fantastic. So with that, I
Yourself,
think
Manda?
look, for me, Dan, it's really that ability to connect with people. I think that was one of the things that I always enjoy. I always enjoy to connect with people and hear their stories. You know, see how you know, they've been impacted by stories. Focus on looking at their growth. I think you know, I have an issue with the fact that success is seen as only attainable by the few, right? One of my things is, how do we democratize success, right? How do we create abundance? And we create abundance as everyone abounds in whatever they are, right? Expand and be a bigger version of themselves, right? As Dr. Rose says, that once you expand, you can never go back to your original, you know, position. And in Africa, that kind of thinking is important because it can impact generations, right? You know, as if we can be that generation that starts creating abundance, that starts creating, you know, future African stars, right, in various respects, right, and in their own rights. And leave what's the word?
You do know you have 1 minute, right?
Yes.
You gave me 1 minute.
Hey, English. My English bundles have depleted. You know, but yeah, have that create repaint history. That would be something that I would really be proud of.
Fantastic. Good. So I think my parting comment is, look, everyone be safe, enjoy the festive season. We're hoping to see you guys. Our initial intention was probably fourth week of January when people are settled in. We don't know what the right time is. It would be actually nice for you guys to put comments on telling us what the right timing is, and we get to it. And if there's even specific suggestions you want to make, please send us a message. We'll go through them. And just end, my favorites, because I've asked this question myself, I have a favorite. My favorite was any of the panelists who came and inspired somebody. Those were my favorites.
Done. Sneaky. All right. Good night, everyone, and enjoy. Should I play the song? But I'm not sure if I'm ready. You know.
For which one? Play. This song didn't start with you planning.
That
play,
song,
guys.
yeah?
Manda is gonna play his sax and play what is it? A Christmas melody for you guys. Come on. Can you guys see what is it? Encourage him to do that. Come on, Manda, 1 minute. There, the saxophone is out.
Let me try. I'm entangled, yeah? Let me untangle myself.
Yay! By the way, just to end, Bytex admin's favorite was done. I count. Have a good night, guys. Until next
All right.
year. Take it easy. Take care. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.